Hey everybody, welcome back. I wanted to do a video today, just a quick little one. Pretty tired, I'm sure everyone can see that. It's raining a little bit outside, it's actually quite lovely. But the reason why I wanted to do a video today is because I put out a video on the passing of Charlie Kirk about a week and a couple days ago. And the reason why I wanted to do a follow-up video on that is because I've had a lot of time to understand who I am as a person. So let me share with you what I believe. And I know that there's going to be tons of people rage baiting out there that are going to tell me that it doesn't matter. In the realm of Buddhism, what does that entail? What is the belief structure of a Buddhist? Well, it's a couple things. One, it's not necessarily reincarnation or a standalone faith. It's just as much of a lifestyle as it is a reckoning with oneself. In my last video, I talked about the impermanence of things and cosmic justice. Believe me, I'll get to cosmic justice here in a little bit. But the impermanence part is truly remarkable because impermanence refers to the idea that every moment you live of every day is constantly fleeting. It's this idea that you don't have to worry about everyone trying to be perfect. None of us are. All of us are trying to live the best life we can and live in the moment. And for those who know my political beliefs, a lot of people will understand that I've been on quite the journey. Back in 2015, when I started my political journey in college, I got indoctrinated by the church I was raised in, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Don't get me wrong, there are tons of wonderful people who practice that faith very faithfully every day. But the issue I have is more about individual thought and what that means for me. I never vibed with that idea of spirituality. I never really fit the mold of the Mormon lifestyle. I served an LDS mission from 2013 to 2015. I was 18 when I served. I still talk about it as an act of service because I did help people. There were instances of flooding during monsoon season that I'll never forget, where Phoenix literally had about 2 or 3 feet of standing water. It was an absolute amazing opportunity to serve people that had been devastated by and blessed with an abundance of water that they hadn't had in quite some time. But what I'm getting at here is that the Mormon religion, as I see it, doesn't really adhere to the beliefs that I have. I don't believe in what some would call the 3 levels of heaven, but it's really the celestial, the telestial, and the terrestrial kingdom. I do not believe in those. I believe in reincarnation, like many Buddhists, like many Taoists, and even Hindus believe in this. Energy is constantly being transformed from life to death to a recreation of a new career, an opportunity to try and rehabilitate different environments. We're surrounded by a natural beauty that is just profound, and we should be cherishing that. Yet, from many conservative leaders and many on what I will say the religious right say, is that we don't need to worry about climate change. It doesn't matter if climate change is real or not. What does matter is, don't you want your world to be cleaner for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-great-grandchildren? Don't you want your childhood home to be preserved in a beautiful way? Don't you want to be in an environment that is worth passing down to the next generation. I do. My husband and I moved out here to Ohio, not just because of fanaticism, but because of opportunity. There's this toxic culture in Utah where there is so much competition, it doesn't leave much room for growth. And maybe I'll do a later video on this, but that just gives you an idea of how everyone's journey is different. And you don't know what you're going to end up with. But during my experience in college and that radicalization, I began to hate myself so much that I began to persecute the very minority group that I was a part of. I denied myself love because I didn't deserve it, because according to the theology that I was brought up in, being queer, being who you are, didn't matter. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that talk about how the Mormon Church will do everything in their power to showcase diversity. I think it's a facade. I think it's an absolute front. When I was 11, maybe 12, I had tried to come out. What did my religious leader or bishop at the time tell me? He told me that I needed to keep it to myself and that it was just a phase. It never went away. By 14, I was absolutely a wreck. Go to a different religious leader, ask him and tell him that I'm struggling with same-sex attraction because that's how the church describes it. And he said, well, don't tell anybody. It may not go away. Just be single for the rest of your life. And that destroyed me. I became cynical, I became dishonest, and I hid everything that made me me. I became a shadow. And because of that, I left many opportunities that could have been wonderful for me. But throughout all of this, I eventually came out of it. By the time I had completed my mission, I started realizing that there were people, really good people, other missionaries, other church leaders, people that believed in community and helping one another and all of these wonderful Christ-like attributes. And I realized that I needed to change because I couldn't be deceitful for the rest of my life. And so when I started to change, I realized that this part of me, this desire, not just to be with a man, but to be with someone who understands me for me. And when I told my mission president, he told me the following: do you know how bad that sounds, a gay missionary? Feeling depressed and nowhere else to go, I did some things that were quite reckless and I ended up going home early. They told me that due to depression and anxiety, you had fulfilled your mission. But I just bottled up those feelings until I couldn't take it anymore. By 2020, I had given up. I came out. It was ugly. There was a lot of disconnect in my family. There was a lot of other issues. And I would like to think that a lot of things have improved. My family isn't perfect, and I do love them dearly. But everyone has a different story, a different experience, and I think it's worth sharing. And in that moment, I realized that all of those experiences I had had, all of those different opportunities I had to go out on my own path, I denied, were coming all up front at the same time. And I had decided that I was going to blaze my own path. I stopped going to church as much. I did participate in some areas. I did do certain things. But then something magical happened. I met my husband. It changed everything. It changed everything in such a dramatic way that I no longer felt like I had to hide. There was a comment my mother made to my fiance, my now husband at the time. She said, I don't know what you did to him, but He's completely different. He's a lot calmer. He's less paranoid. And there's something I'm still working on. It's this impermanence. It's this idea of energy begets energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. And with that being said, that leads us to cosmic justice. All of the harm that I conducted to myself, to others, by denying their authenticity, their existence, their mortal plane, their right to be, was so destructive that I made the decision that I needed to make these videos where I talk about this. Because until you start to heal, you cannot help others. Did Charlie Kirk deserve to get shot? No. Was he vile? Yes. Was he pushing? Absolutely. Was something bound to happen? Definitely. Why was something bound to happen? Because he denied other people their own rights, whether he believed those rights were his to determine who got and who didn't. That's no better than a king or an unrighteous lord ruling over a serfdom. Karma is real. Cosmic justice works in mysterious ways. Your negative attributes could lead to you spiraling into a depressive episode. It could be as minute as that, but it could be as extreme as someone else lashing out in violence towards you. But let's be honest about two things here. I'm not perfect. Charlie Kirk was absolutely not perfect. But I also need to address the other elephant in the room. Charlie Kirk was not assassinated. He was murdered. Cold, vicious, and ruthlessly. Why do I say he wasn't assassinated? One, he doesn't meet the definition. Well, how can you say that? Because he was not a religious leader, and the person that killed him did not act out in violent outrage. The definition for assassination is exactly that. And the root word, assassination, comes from 1,000 years AD, maybe a little earlier, but it comes from an Arabic root called Hashashin. And these people were ruthless killers who killed in the name of Allah. Not too dissimilar to the Taliban. I want you to think about that for a minute, because the language I've heard all over the internet has been incredibly destructive and incredibly vile, and nor do I believe it is in anyone's best interest to keep up this rhetoric. It's leading to more division, more harm, more damage, and more unfortunate death. You reap what you sow. You say, without sympathy, it is okay for a child to be gunned down in a school because it protects our Second Amendment rights. Our Second Amendment rights were initially published there, not because of hunting or farming, but to protect ourselves from the tyranny of the government. Should the January 6th rioters been pardoned? No, not by any means. One, they weren't successful. And two, if they were, this would be a completely different conversation, and I don't know if I'd even be able to have it. But when you start taking rights away, it doesn't matter from what group, which community, it starts to slip. And I think it is high time that people start to follow their own heart. This has been a lot of stuff I've been thinking about recently, and there's a reason why I haven't published a video. And just for the record, anyone who does want to debate on my comment section. I'm not going to tell you to bring it, because that goes against everything I believe in. Just know that if it persists like it did the last time, your comments will be removed. And it is not because I don't want to discuss with you. It's because you won't let me have an opinion different from yours. And you've already deemed me wrong. And that's unfortunate. Sorry for being so solemn on this video. Honestly, the energy in the environment I'm in now, I feel a lot better. But the truth of the matter is, people aren't seeking grace like they once did. And it's unfortunate. And I hope that we can all come to a consensus that it's time to heal. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and maybe we'll talk about something better next time.